We all want the same things: to be respected, to be treated fairly, to have a safe place to call home. But these ideals can be harder to come by when you don't have money.
We were losing our house, and it was overwhelming to us, and we didn't know what to do. We weren't concentrating, we weren't thinking of anything.
He picked me up and threw me across the room, and whenever he did, everyone saw it, you know, and it was very embarrassing.
And I had gotten to the point where I felt like I was a non-person. That society would rather I just disappear and go away.
The last thing I want is to be in a nursing home. You know, I'm an active person, you know. I don't want to be stuck somewhere like that. You know, I'm young and all that good stuff.
These are the stories of a few Texans whose worlds were falling apart, and of a service called Legal Aid that helped them rebuild their lives and reclaim their dignity.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine.
Teenager Anna Aleman takes care of children at a daycare center. It's an after-school job. Not long ago, she lived with and took care of her ailing grandmother. But Anna had increasing medical and assisted living needs of her own. Her situation worsened, and the state removed Anna from her grandmother's home. Without intervention, Anna was a likely candidate for a nursing home, or possibly an institution.
I felt terribly alone. I felt like, you know, what am I going to do? You know, I don't know what to do. You know, I don't know the laws or, you know what my rights are.
Robert Cadenas' debilitating heart attack put more than his health on the line. Family finances, even the Cadena home, were threatened. His heart attack, along with other long-term health problems, left Robert unable to work.
Our income was zero when this happened to us, because once he stopped working, everything stopped for us.
Francis and Robert Cadena learned through the mail that the county planned to sell their home at a public auction because of unpaid taxes.
You open the letter, you read it, and you don't understand it. And then after that, you say, what am I going to do?
I looked at the roster of the people that were losing their homes, some of them for $1,000, and I thought, why would a person lose their home for $1,000?
My customers were the big Fortune 1000 companies and a lot of military.
Susan Gallia was the picture of success in the high-tech industry, confident, poised, well-paid. But Susan's life took an unexpected turn.
I had thousands and thousands of voices in my head. And just, if you can imagine being in a convention center with all this, you know, going on, it's nerve-wracking.
Susan was diagnosed with a mental illness. She suffered from severe depression and could no longer hold down a job. She lived in a house with no ceiling, no sewer or septic system, no running water, and she relied on food banks to eat. With her life savings and her self-esteem exhausted, Susan was in a perilous free fall and became suicidal.
It was the lowest point of my life. I had no hope. I didn't think anything would ever get better. And yet I was trying to go out in the world and pretend everything was normal because I was real ashamed and I didn't want anyone to know, you know, what things had come to.
And then he threw me up against the wall in the hallway, and he grabbed a fork and he slashed my face open.
Judy Mills struggled through a marriage that left her isolated, abused, and without money. Electricity was cut off, food scarce. She feared for herself and for her children.
As horrible as it sounds, I just wanted him to go ahead and kill me because I was so sick of the way that I was living. I mean, I really, at that point, I didn't want to go home to my parents because it is the most humiliating feeling to have to go home to your family.
Judy Mills, Susan Gallia, the Cadenas, Anna Aleman, each faced life-changing setbacks. Unlike the criminal justice system, people with civil legal problems do not automatically receive the right to counsel. But in Texas, there is hope. Texans with limited resources can gain access to the justice system with the help of legal aid.
When I was first contacted about Anna, her situation was extremely fragile because it had been determined that she needed to be placed outside of the home. There was talk of sending her to a congregate living facility for kids with severe disabilities. My first war was to stop that placement.
Legal aid won that battle. Instead of an institution, Ana Aleman found herself in a real home with a family. Legal aid ensured that Ana received essential Medicaid assistance and became her advocate in a school system that needed to be convinced she could succeed in a classroom.
Sometimes being disabled, people don't expect much from you. They don't think that you can meet the standards of a normal person. And she's always made it clear that they shouldn't hold me back just because of my disability.
It was a fiasco. It was terrible. I didn't know what to do. I was helpless.
Legal aid's quick action guided the Cadenas family from desperation to hope.
We went ahead and set up a payment arrangement so they could start making monthly payments towards their taxes. They were able to save their home. So the client saves their homes, the county gets their money.
You know, this is a house that I was raised since I was 6 months old. This is a neighborhood that I've always enjoyed and loved. I raised 4 children in this household. I'm going to stay. This is my house.
There were just voices constantly day and night. When I would get out on the lake, they would stop. That was the only place where there was silence. I did everything right. You know, I went to school and I got my degree and I got the career and I worked really hard and had, you know, all the outward trappings of success. And yet my mind went, and without your mind, you can't do a whole lot.
She couldn't fill out things. She couldn't make phone calls. She couldn't show up or wouldn't show up places.
Legal aid became Susan Gallia's lost voice and secured her Social Security disability benefits rightfully due her. Susan now lives simply but with dignity.
Legal aid, by stepping in and fighting this battle for me, is huge. It's just huge because I can survive now and not have to be on the streets begging, or worse, in Austin State Hospital. And that's the main thing, is I'm staying out of the hospital.
For me to represent myself in a court and try to come out with my children safe, and I mean, I would be gambling a lot to try to walk in there by myself.
You're so good at soccer, honey.
To ensure that she and her children would be safe, Judy Mills contacted legal aid.
We were able to get her divorce. We got her custody of her children. Her husband's visitation is supervised and no overnights. And that was the paramount issue for Judy. That is the safety of her children.
Legal aid helped me, you know, build us a life, build us a home, and not have to worry about somebody hurting us or you know, abusing us anymore.
These are a fortunate few. For every Texan who seeks help, many are turned away. The resources to help are simply not there.
I'm handling about 550 cases alone. There's no way that I can increase that caseload.
And it just tears at you, because as much as you want to help everybody, you have to make a hard call. Which ones do you help? And the ones that you say no to, you have no idea what's going to happen to them.
When our justice system fails any one of us, it affects us all. If a person does not get the legal assistance he or she needs, there can be a greater demand for tax-supported public housing, shelters, hospitals. Families may become separated, children placed in foster homes.
So who wins in that case? Nobody, because the person is out in the street, that's one. Two, you and I as taxpayers, are they going to have to pick up the slack and support this person?
Too many deserving Texans fall through the cracks every year. To help them gain access to our civil justice system, legal aid needs more resources, increased funding, and more attorneys to handle cases pro bono.
The task at hand is so overwhelming that sometimes I go into my office and I look at the statistics of the number of people that are senselessly institutionalized and who want out and who are writing us letters, and I think, I cannot handle this. Please send me a team of 20 attorneys. Please send me 100 paralegals.
If every attorney were to say I could help 1 or 2 Susans, we wouldn't be turning them away the way we are now.
Well, legal aid came along and they gave me hope where I had no hope at all. I was completely in a hopeless situation, and they gave me the first hope I'd had in years.
I really want to make a difference in somebody else's life. You know, I want to help other people, and I wouldn't have had that opportunity if it wasn't for legal aid.
Legal aid is an office that I will never ever forget until I die.
All Texans, regardless of income, deserve access to our justice system. But this ideal is not yet realized. We all have a responsibility to be part of the solution. So help legal aid make justice a reality for all Texans.
It was the worst it could have ever been, and now it's the very best it could ever be. I have a wonderful life now.